If someone had told me a wine club pickup would taste like déjà vu, I would have skipped the drive. The sleek silver Tesla idled before the weathered wooden gate. Charlotte Pierce stepped out, Prada heels sinking into the gravel, and frowned at the dust already marring the leather. This was a mistake. The thought had looped through her head for the 100th time since leaving San Jose that morning. Still, her assistant's email had been unequivocal. Willow Crest Winery was an ideal acquisition, a struggling boutique label in prime Mendocino County, ready to be remade into a luxury brand. What Kara hadn't included was the name on the deed. Charlotte slid her sunglasses down, surveying the land. Rolling hills of grapevines unfurled in every direction, leaves burnished gold in the late afternoon light. The main house, a cream Victorian with forest green trim, radiated rustic credibility, everything opposite Charlotte's world of steel and glass high-rises. She was turning back toward the car when she heard it, a voice she'd spent 5 years trying to forget. "I told you, Hank, the Pen Noir from Block 7 needs another week. Don't let anyone talk you out of it." Charlotte's breath snagged. Elena Morales stepped from the rows, phone to her ear, dirt-stained work gloves tucked into worn jean pockets. Dark hair yanked into a messy ponytail, olive skin sheened with sweat. A faded flannel, sleeves shoved to the elbows, bared the strong forearms Charlotte remembered far too well. Elena stopped mid-stride when she saw the Tesla. Her eyes traveled from the car to the woman standing beside it, and the phone slipped slightly in her hand. "I'll call you back," she said quietly, ending the call without waiting for a response. For a moment, neither of them moved. 5 years collapsed into nothing. The silence was deafening, broken only by the wind rustling through the vines. "Charlotte." Lenny's voice came out flat, controlled. "Elena." Charlotte removed her sunglasses completely, meeting those familiar brown eyes. "It's been a while. 5 years to be exact." Lenny crossed her arms. "And now you just show up. Why?" Charlotte straightened her shoulders, shifting into her professional persona like armor. "I'm here on business. I didn't know you owned this place." "Business?" Elena let out a short, bitter laugh. "Of course, because that's all that ever mattered to you, wasn't it?" The word stung, but Charlotte kept her expression neutral. "I'm here to discuss a potential acquisition. Willow Crest Winery has come to the attention of my investment firm." Lenny's eyes narrowed. "Let me guess. You want to buy my winery?" "Not me personally. The company I represent." "Save it, Charlotte." Lenny took a step forward. "I know exactly how this works. Big corporation swoops in, waves money around, turns a family operation into some sterile tourist trap. Is that the plan? That's not fair, isn't it?" Elena's voice rose slightly. "You walked away from everything we built together 5 years ago because it wasn't enough for you. Because I wasn't enough. You chose corporate success over us. And now you want to take this from me, too." Charlotte felt her chest tighten. "Elena," that's not a small voice interrupted them. "Mama." Both women turned. Standing on the front porch was a little girl, maybe 4 years old, with a mass of dark curls and curious brown eyes. She wore tiny denim overalls covered in what looked like grape juice stains, and held a stuffed bunny in one hand, Charlotte's world tilted on its axis. The girl looked exactly like Elena. The same olive skin, the same dimple in her left cheek. But her eyes, those grayish-blue eyes that seemed to look right through you, those were Charlotte's eyes. "Luna, honey, go back inside," Elena said quickly, her voice tight. "But Mama, I'm thirsty." The little girl's lower lip jutted out in a pout that was so achingly familiar. It made Charlotte's heart stop. "I'll be right there, sweetheart. Just give me a minute." The girl studied Charlotte with open curiosity. "Who's the fancy lady?" Despite everything, Charlotte almost smiled. "Fancy lady. Your shoes are shiny." Luna pointed. "And you smell like flowers." "Mama smells like dirt." "Luna." Elena's face flushed. "It's okay." Charlotte found herself kneeling down despite her expensive skirt. "I like how your mama smells. Dirt means she's working hard to make beautiful things grow." Luna considered this seriously. "Do you grow things, too?" "Not like your mama does." "Then what do you do?" Charlotte hesitated. "I am still figuring that out." The little girl seemed satisfied with this answer. She waved her bunny at Charlotte in greeting, then skipped back into the house. When Charlotte stood up, Elena was staring at her with an unreadable expression. "She's beautiful," Charlotte said softly. "Don't." Lenny's voice was low, dangerous. "Don't you dare." Elena, how old is she? That's none of your business. 4, Charlotte pressed. She looks about 4. Lenny's jaw tightened. Leave, Charlotte. You're not welcome here. Is she mine? The question hung in the air between them like a live wire. Lenny looked away, her hands clenching into fists. You lost the right to ask that question 5 years ago. That's not an answer. It's the only one you're getting. Lenny turned back toward the house. Now get off my property before I call the sheriff. Charlotte stood frozen, watching Lenny walk away. Every instinct screamed at her to follow, to demand answers, but her feet wouldn't move. As Elena reached the porch, she paused without turning around. And Charlotte, tell your company that Willow Crest Winery isn't for sale. Not now. Not ever. Some things are more important than money. The door closed with a soft click that somehow sounded louder than any slam. Charlotte drove back to her hotel in a daze, barely seeing the winding roads through the Anderson Valley. Her hands shook on the steering wheel. A daughter. She might have a daughter. Back at the hotel, she pulled out her phone and started calculating. 5 years ago, she and Elena had been together for 3 years. They'd talked about having children someday, about starting a family. Elena had even suggested they begin the process of finding a donor. And then Charlotte's company had offered her the CEO position. It meant relocating to San Jose. Longer hours, constant travel. Elena had asked her to choose the job or their life together in wine country. Charlotte had chosen wrong. She pulled up her assistant number. Kara, I need you to find out everything you can about Elena Morales and Willow Crest Winery, ownership history, financial records, everything right away, Miss Pierce, and about the acquisition. Put it on hold. Charlotte closed her eyes indefinitely. That night, Charlotte lay awake in her hotel room, staring at the ceiling. Somewhere just a few miles away, was a little girl with gray-blue eyes who might be hers. A child she'd never known existed. And Elena. God. Elena. Still as fierce and passionate as Charlotte remembered, but harder now. Weathered by time and whatever Charlotte's departure had put her through. Charlotte's phone buzzed with an email from Kara. She opened it to find a detailed report on Navarro River Estates. The winery was struggling, not failing, but barely breaking even. Elena had purchased it 3 years ago with a loan that was probably eating up most of the profits. She ran it almost entirely alone with just one part-time employee and seasonal help during harvest 3 years ago, right around the time Luna would have been born. Charlotte scrolled through the financial documents until she found what she was looking for. A life insurance policy listing Luna Morales as the beneficiary. Date of birth, September 15th, 4 years ago. She did the math. Conception would have been around December 5th years ago. Right before Charlotte left, the realization hit her like a physical blow. Elena had been pregnant when Charlotte walked away. Pregnant, alone, and Charlotte had been too self-absorbed to notice. Her phone slipped from her numb fingers. What did Charlotte just discover? Can you guess what happens next? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Charlotte didn't sleep. At 6 a.m., she was already in her car driving back to Willow Crest Winery. She needed answers, and this time she wasn't leaving without them. The morning fog hung thick over the vineyards, giving everything a dreamlike quality. Charlotte parked outside the gate and walked up the gravel drive, her sneakers. She'd learned her lesson about heels. Crunching softly, she found Elena in the vineyard, moving between rows with practiced efficiency. Examining clusters of Chardonnay grapes still weeks from harvest, her breath misted in the cool morning air. I know you're there, Elena said without turning around. You're not as quiet as you think. Charlotte stepped into the row. We need to talk. No, we don't. Elena moved to the next vine. I was very clear yesterday. Luna is 4 years old. Lenny's hand stilled on a grape cluster. I did the math, Charlotte continued, her voice surprisingly steady. She was conceived 5 years ago, right before I left. Congratulations on your detective work. Elena's tone was acidic. Want a medal? I want the truth. Elena finally turned to face her and Charlotte was shocked to see tears in her eyes. You want the truth? Fine. Yes. Luna is your daughter biologically. Anyway, we just started the IVF process when you got your big job offer. I was implanted the week before you left. Charlotte felt the ground shift beneath her. You were pregnant and you didn't tell me. I didn't know. Elena's voice broke. I found out a week after you moved to San Jose and by then you'd made it crystal clear where your priorities were. Elena, I would have what? Elena cut her off. Come back, given up your dream job, please? We both know you would have resented me. Resented her. That's not true, isn't it? Elena wiped her eyes roughly. You chose success over love, Charlotte. You made your choice. I tried to contact you, Charlotte protested. After a few months, I realized I'd made a mistake. I called. I sent emails. I blocked you. Elena's admission was quiet. Every number, every account. Because every time I saw your name, it broke me all over again. I was pregnant, alone, and terrified. I couldn't afford to fall apart. The silence that followed was heavy with 5 years of pain. I'm sorry, Charlotte finally whispered. God, Elena, I'm so sorry. Sorry doesn't change anything, but Elena's voice had lost some of its edge. Sorry doesn't give Luna back the first 4 years with her other mother. Tell me about her. Charlotte's voice was desperate. Please tell me about my daughter. Elena studied her for a long moment, then sighed. Come on, I need coffee for this conversation. They walked to the house in silence. Inside, the kitchen was warm and cluttered with Luna's artwork covering the refrigerator. Charlotte's eyes traveled over every crayon drawing, every finger painting, seeing pieces of a life she'd missed. Elena poured 2 mugs of coffee and sat at the wooden table. She's smart, too smart sometimes. Started reading at 3. Loves science, especially anything about plants and soil. Wonder where she gets that from. Charlotte smiled despite herself. She's stubborn as hell, Lenny continued, a fond note creeping into her voice. Last month, she decided the chickens needed names from Greek mythology. Now we have hens named Demeter, Persephone, and Hestia. She corrects anyone who calls them anything else. She sounds amazing. She is. Elena's expression softened. She's the best thing that ever happened to me. Even when everything was falling apart, she gave me a reason to keep going. I should have been here. Yes. Elena agreed simply. You should have, but you weren't. And we survived. Charlotte wrapped her hands around the warm mug. Why did you come back to wine country? I thought you'd stay in San Jose. Elena laughed bitterly. With what money? I was pregnant, alone, working as a sommelier at a restaurant. When Luna was born, I couldn't afford childcare and work full-time. I had to choose. So, you came here. My grandmother left me a little money when she died, enough for a down payment on this place. Elena gazed out the window at the vineyards. It was falling apart, but it was mine. Somewhere I could raise my daughter and make a living. Somewhere stable. You've done an incredible job. Don't. Lenny's voice hardened again. Don't patronize me. You don't get to show up after 5 years and play proud ex-girlfriend. That's not what I'm doing. Then what are you doing, Charlotte? Why are you really here? Before Charlotte could answer, they heard small footsteps on the stairs. Luna appeared in the doorway, dragging her bunny, her curls wild from sleep. Mama, I had a bad dream. She stopped when she saw Charlotte. Oh, it's the fancy lady again. Luna, sweetie, why don't you go watch cartoons? I'll make you breakfast in a minute. Can the fancy lady make breakfast? Luna asked with innocent curiosity. I want to see if fancy people know how to cook. Elena looked ready to refuse, but Charlotte spoke first. I make excellent pancakes if your mama says it's okay. Luna turned pleading eyes on Elena, who sighed in defeat. Fine, but don't feed her too much sugar. I'll be good, both Charlotte and Luna said at the same time. They looked at each other in surprise. Then Luna giggled. You're funny. I like you. Charlotte felt something crack open in her chest. I like you too, kiddo. While Charlotte made pancakes, only slightly burning the first 2, Luna sat at the kitchen counter, swinging her legs and asking rapid-fire questions. Do you live in a big house? An apartment in the city? Do you have pets? No, I travel too much. That's sad. Everyone should have pets. We have chickens and a dog named Mr. Bentley. That's an excellent name for a dog. I know. I named him. Luna watched Charlotte flip a pancake. Why are your hands so soft? Mama's hands are rough. Because your mama works hard with her hands. She builds things and creates things. I mostly type on computers. Luna wrinkled her nose. That sounds boring. Sometimes it is, Charlotte admitted, surprising herself with the honesty. Elena watched from the doorway, her expression unreadable. Seeing Charlotte and Luna together, seeing how easily they talked, how similar their mannerisms were, it was both beautiful and heartbreaking. After breakfast, Luna asked Charlotte if she wanted to see the vineyard. I can show you where the best grapes grow. Elena started to object, but Charlotte said, I'd love that if your mama says it's okay. Elena found herself nodding. They walked through the rows, Luna, holding Charlotte's hand and chattering constantly. She showed Charlotte her favorite hiding spots between the vines, explained which blocks produced which varietals, and pointed out where a family of rabbits lived. Mama says the grapes are like babies, Luna explained seriously. You have to take care of them and give them what they need, but you also can't baby them too much or they get weak. Your mama is very wise, I know. Luna looked up at Charlotte. Are you going to stay? The question caught Charlotte off guard. I don't know, sweetheart. You should. Mama works too hard. She needs help. And I think she gets lonely sometimes, even though she doesn't say so. Charlotte's throat tightened. Does she have? Is there someone special? Someone who helps her? Luna shook her head. Just me and Mr. Bentley. And Hank comes to help with the wine sometimes, but he's old and grumpy. They walked in silence for a moment. Then Luna stopped and looked up at Charlotte with those knowing eyes. You make my mama sad. I know, honey. I'm sorry, but you also make her smile. I saw her smiling when you were making pancakes. She doesn't smile like that very much. Charlotte knelt down to Luna's level. Your mama is an amazing person. She deserves all the smiles in the world. Then why did you leave? The child's directness was devastating. Because I made a mistake. I thought something else was more important and I was wrong. Luna considered this gravely. Everyone makes mistakes. Mama says the important thing is fixing them. Your mama is right, but some mistakes are hard to fix. Hard doesn't mean impossible. Luna hugged her bunny. You just have to try really hard and not give up. Charlotte felt tears prick her eyes. This 4-year-old was wiser than she'd been at 30. They came back to the house to find Elena on the phone, her face drained and tight. I understand. Yes, thank you for calling. She hung up, stood motionless a beat, then seemed to notice Charlotte and Luna. Mama, what's wrong? Luna rushed to her. Nothing, baby. Just grown-up stuff, Lenny said with a forced smile. But Charlotte could see it wasn't true. Elena, what happened? Nothing that concerns you. Elena scooped up Luna. Come on, sweetheart. Let's check on the chickens. But now, Luna. After they left, Charlotte spotted a sheet of paper on the counter, a county notice about a lien on the property for 3 years of unpaid taxes. Her mind snapped into motion. She scanned and forwarded it to Kara. Find out everything about this now. 30 minutes later, Kara called back. Miss Pierce, this is odd. Records show those taxes were paid, but there's a duplicate filing claiming non-payment. It looks like someone's trying to force a foreclosure. Who? The trail's buried under shell companies. If I had to guess, it ties to your acquisition target. Someone wants this land badly enough to fake the paperwork. Cold washed through Charlotte. Dig deeper. I want names. She ended the call and tracked Elena to the barn, where Lenny was ferociously mucking stalls. I saw the notice, Charlotte said. Then you saw it's not your problem. Elena didn't look up. Those taxes were paid. Someone's doctoring records to steal your property. Elena finally paused, leaning on the pitchfork. I know. You know? I've been fighting it for weeks. I can't afford the lawyers it would take to prove fraud, so I'm going to lose everything. How long have you known? Does it matter? Her voice cracked. In 2 weeks there's a foreclosure auction. Someone will buy Navarro River Estates for pennies, and Luna and I will have to start over. I can help. I don't want your help. Elena hurled the pitchfork aside. Don't you get it? I don't want your money or your connections or your guilt. I want you to leave and let me figure it out like I always have. I'm not leaving. Charlotte, I'm not leaving, she repeated, steady. Not this time. Hate me, yell at me, refuse to speak to me, but I'm not walking away from you and Luna again. Elena stared through tears. Why now? Why do you suddenly care? Because I never stopped caring. I was just too much of a coward to admit I chose wrong. Charlotte stepped closer. Let me fix this. Not out of guilt, because you and Luna deserve to keep this place. It's your home. And after you fix it, then what? You go back to San Jose and we never see you again? I don't know, Charlotte admitted. But I can't leave it like this. Before Elena could answer, Luna burst into the barn, cheeks flushed. Mama. Mama. Demeter laid 2 eggs, too. She's never done that before. Elena wiped her eyes and smiled at her daughter. That's wonderful, baby. We'll have to give her extra treats. Luna noticed the tension. Are you sad again? No, sweetie. I'm okay. Luna looked at Charlotte. You should hug her. Hugs make people feel better. Luna. Elena started. But Charlotte had already stepped forward, gently pulling Elena into her arms. For a second, Elena was stiff, resistant. Then she collapsed against Charlotte's shoulder and sobbed. Luna joined the hug, wrapping her small arms around both of them. See, this is nice. And despite everything, the pain, the secrets, the 5 years of absence, Charlotte couldn't disagree. The fight to save the winery has begun. If you're hooked on this story, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss what happens next. Comment bilo? Should Charlotte stay in wine country or return to San Jose? That night, after Luna was asleep, Elena and Charlotte sat on the back porch overlooking the vineyard. The sky was clear, stars bright without the city lights to dim them. I can't let you fix this for me, Lenny said quietly. Why not? Because then I'll owe you. And owing you would mean I don't know what it would mean. Charlotte took a sip of the Pen Noir Elena had poured. What if you didn't owe me anything? What if I'm doing this because it's the right thing to do? Nothing's ever that simple. It could be. Lenny turned to look at her. Why are you really here, Charlotte? And don't say business. I read the report my lawyer sent me. Your company specifically targeted Willow Crest Winery. That's not random. Charlotte had known this moment was coming. You're right. It wasn't random. So 6 months ago, I was at a wine bar in San Jose. The sommelier recommended a Pinot Noir from a small winery in Mendocino County, Willow Crest Winery. Charlotte smiled at the memory. It was incredible, complex, balanced, with this finish that just lingered. I asked about the winemaker. Elena waited. They told me about this woman who'd bought a failing vineyard and turned it around through sheer determination. Self-taught, fiercely independent, refusing to compromise on quality even when it meant barely breaking even. Charlotte looked at Elena. I knew it was you before they even said your name. Nobody else makes wine with that much passion. So, you decided to destroy me? No, Charlotte said quickly. I decided, God, this sounds insane. I decided that if I couldn't be with you, at least I could help you succeed. I convinced my partners to invest, to acquire the winery and give you the resources to expand. Elena's laugh was hollow. How generous. Buy my winery and let me work for you. That's not what I meant. Then what did you mean? Charlotte set down her wine glass. I meant I've spent 5 years trying to fill the hole you left. I threw myself into work, made millions, got everything I thought I wanted, and none of it mattered because I didn't have you. Charlotte, I'm not finished. Charlotte turned to face her fully. When I found out about Luna, when I realized what I'd missed, what I'd thrown away. Elena, I can't get those years back. I know that, but I can try to be here for what comes next. If you'll let me. Elena was quiet for a long time. Then she asks about you. Charlotte's heart skipped. What? Luna. She's asked about her other mother since she was old enough to understand that families come in different shapes. Elena's voice was thick with emotion. I told her that her other mama loved her very much, but had to go away to do important work. Elena, I never badmouthed you to her. Even when I was angry, even when I hated you, I never wanted Luna to think she wasn't wanted. Tears streamed down Charlotte's face. I did want her. I do want her. I just didn't know. I should have told you. Elena's admission was barely a whisper. Even if you'd left anyway, you deserved to know. But I was so hurt, so angry. I told myself I was protecting her, but really I was punishing you. They sat in silence, both crying, both grieving the time they'd lost. Finally, Elena said what you said earlier about staying. Did you mean it? Every word. Because Luna likes you. She doesn't attach to people easily, but she likes you. And if you're going to be in her life, you have to be Alan. I won't let you break her heart. I won't. Charlotte promised. I swear, Elena. I won't walk away again. Okay. Elena took a shaky breath. Then we need to tell her about you being her other mother. Charlotte's heart thundered. Are you sure? No, but Luna deserves the truth. And the longer we wait, the harder it'll be. The next morning, they sat Luna down in the living room. She was still in her dinosaur pajamas, clutching her bunny, sensing something important was about to happen. Baby, Elena started. You know how some families have a mom and a dad and some families have two moms and some families have just one parent? Luna nodded seriously. Well, you have two moms. You've always had two moms, but one of them has been away. Luna's eyes widened, understanding dawning. She looked at Charlotte. You're my other mama. Charlotte's voice shook. Yes, sweetheart. I am. Where were you? It was the question Charlotte had been dreading. I was in San Jose working. I didn't know about you. And when I found out, I came as fast as I could. Luna processed this with the gravity only children can manage. Do you want to be my mama now? More than anything in the world, even though I'm loud and I ask too many questions, and sometimes I don't want to take baths, Charlotte laughed through her tears, especially because of all those things. Luna slid off the couch and walked to Charlotte, studying her face carefully. Then she climbed into Charlotte's lap and wrapped her arms around her neck. Okay, she said simply. You can be my mama. Charlotte held her daughter for the first time, really held her, and felt something fundamental shift inside her. Every dollar she'd earned, every deal she'd closed, every achievement she'd been so proud of. None of it compared to this moment. Elena watched them, her own face wet with tears. She'd been so afraid of this conversation, but watching Luna accept Charlotte so easily, so naturally, maybe it was going to be okay after all. Does this mean you're staying? Luna pulled back to look at Charlotte. If your mama and the universe cooperate? Yes. What's the universe? Everything. All the stars and planets and mysteries we haven't figured out yet. Luna considered this. Mama says the universe has a funny sense of humor. She's not wrong. Later that afternoon, while Luna was napping, Charlotte got a call from Kara. I found something, her assistant said without preamble. The shell company behind the fake tax liens, it's owned by Vanguard Corporation. Charlotte frowned. I don't know them. You should. They're a land development company that's been buying up vineyards in Soma County. And their majority shareholder, Victor Liang. The name hit Charlotte like a punch. Victor Liang was her biggest rival in the tech investment world. They'd been competing for deals for years, always just barely underbidding each other. He knows, Charlotte said slowly. He knows I was interested in Willow Crest Winery and he's trying to take it before I can. Looks like it. And Miss Pierce, there's more. The foreclosure auction is being run by a county official who happens to be Victor's brother-in-law. That's fraud. That's what I said, but proving it might be difficult. Charlotte's mind raced. Get me everything you can on Vanguard Corp and Victor's involvement. Financial records, property acquisitions, everything. And Kara, keep this quiet. I don't want him knowing we're on to him. When she hung up, Elena was standing in the doorway. Everything okay? Charlotte explained about Victor, about the fraud, about the conspiracy to steal the winery. Lenny's face went pale. What do? We fight back. Charlotte pulled out her laptop. I have some resources Victor doesn't know about. And I'm not above playing dirty when someone threatens my family. The word slipped out before Charlotte could stop it. Family? Elena didn't correct her. They spent the rest of the day gathering evidence. Charlotte called in favors from lawyers, accountants, and even a former FBI agent she'd met at a charity gala. By nightfall, they had a case. We can file an injunction to stop the auction, Charlotte explained. It won't be permanent, but it'll buy us time to expose the fraud. And if it doesn't work, Charlotte looked at her steadily. Then I'll buy the property myself at auction and deed it back to you. Charlotte, that's non-negotiable. One way or another, you're keeping this winery. Elena shook her head, but she was smiling. You're insane. Probably. Is it working for me? A little bit, Elena admitted. That night, after filing the injunction with an emergency judge, they opened a bottle of Elena's best reserve Pinot. Luna had gone to bed hours ago, and the house was quiet, except for the sound of the Navarro River in the distance. Do you remember when we first met? Lenny asked suddenly. Charlotte smiled. Wine tasting course at UC Davis. You argued with the instructor about malolactic fermentation. I was right. You were definitely right. I fell for you the moment you stood up and defended your position, even though everyone else disagreed. I fell for you when you came up to me after class and said, "Want to grab coffee and talk about how everyone else is an idiot?" They both laughed. I loved our life, Elena said softly. Before it all fell apart, I was so happy. I thought we'd have everything we dreamed about. We could still have it, Charlotte ventured. Charlotte, I know it's too soon, but Elena, I meant what I said. I'm not going anywhere. Whether we're friends, co-parents, or she trailed off. Or, Elena prompted. Charlotte met her eyes. Or whatever you want us to be. I'll take whatever you're willing to give. Elena was quiet for a long moment. Then she stood and held out her hand. Come with me. She led Charlotte out to the vineyard to a spot where the vines gave way to a small clearing. In the center was a young tree barely taller than Charlotte. This is Luna's tree, Elena explained. I planted it the day she was born. A Gravenstein apple tree which will bloom in spring and give fruit in fall, just like the wine cycle. Charlotte stepped closer, seeing the small plaque at the base. It read, For Luna, who taught me what really matters. I was in labor for 18 hours, Elena continued. I was alone, terrified, and so angry at you, I could barely see straight. But when she was born, when they put her in my arms, all the anger just evaporated, because she was perfect and she was ours, even if you weren't there. Elena, let me finish. Elena took a shaky breath. I forgave you that day. Not consciously maybe, but somewhere deep down I let go of the anger because holding on to it would have poisoned the beautiful thing I'd been given. Charlotte felt tears stream down her face. But I never stopped loving you, Elena whispered. No matter how hard I tried, and seeing you with Luna, seeing how natural you are with her, it makes me want to believe we could try again. I want that, Charlotte said immediately. God, Elena, I want that so much. But I'm scared. Elena's voice broke. I'm scared you'll realize wine country is too slow, too quiet. I'm scared you'll miss your old life and leave us again. Charlotte pulled Elena into her arms. I'm terrified, too. I'm terrified I'll mess this up, that I don't know how to be a mother, that I'm too broken to deserve a second chance. I'm willing to be scared, if it means being with you and Luna. They stood in the vineyard, holding each other beneath the stars while the leaves of Luna's apple tree whispered in the breeze. We have to take it slow, Elena said at last. Glacially slow. I promise. And you actually have to live here, not commute from San Jose. I'll list my condo tomorrow. And you'll learn to prune vines, Elena added. Charlotte laughed. That sounds hazardous. It is. You'll nick yourself a dozen times. Worth it. Elena eased back to study her. One more thing. Anything. If Luna's going to have 2 moms, we have to do this right. No secrets. No running. We work through things together. I swear, Charlotte said, solemn. No more running. Okay then. Elena laced their fingers. Let's go inside. We've got an auction to stop and a winery to save. As they headed for the house, Charlotte glanced at Luna's tree, already picturing it growing alongside their daughter. This was what mattered, not boardrooms or margins, but trees and wine and family. She'd finally found her way home. Can Charlotte and Elena save the winery? Drop a comment if you're rooting for this family. Morning delivered bad news. Judge Ramirez denied the emergency injunction. Charlotte stared at her phone, stunned. That's impossible. We had rock-solid proof of fraud. Elena sat at the kitchen table, color drained. What now? The auction goes ahead. 3 days. Luna patted in, rubbing sleep from her eyes. Why does everyone look sad? Just grown-up stuff, baby, Elena tried, forcing a smile. But at 4, Luna could already tell when her mother wasn't telling the whole truth. Is it about the farm? Charlotte and Lenny traded a look. Sweetheart, Elena began gently, remember how we talked about people sometimes moving to new houses? No, Luna's lip trembled. This is our house. You said we'd never leave. I know, baby, but sometimes, no. Her voice rose to a wail. I was born here. My tree is here. We can't go. Charlotte knelt. Luna, honey, we're going to do everything we can to stay. You promise? The question's weight pressed down hard. Charlotte looked to Elena. Elena gave a tiny nod. I promise, Charlotte said, aware she might be pledging something she couldn't guarantee. After Elena took Luna out to feed the chickens, a usually reliable distraction, Charlotte's phone rang. Victor Leong. Charlotte, his smooth voice slid through the speaker, I hear you're meddling in my business in wine country. Your business? You mean fraud and corruption? Such harsh words. I prefer strategic acquisition. I have evidence, Victor. I know about the fake tax liens, the shell companies, your brother-in-law running the auction. He laughed. Evidence that a judge has already decided isn't compelling enough for an injunction. Face it, Charlotte. You lost this round. This isn't over. Actually, it is. But I'm calling to make you an offer. A courtesy, really, given our history. Charlotte waited, her jaw tight. Pull out gracefully, and I'll make sure the new owner hires Ms. Morales as their winemaker. She keeps her job. Her daughter stays in the house. Everyone wins. Except Elena loses ownership of her life's work. She was going to lose it anyway. At least this way, she maintains dignity. She's not going to work for someone else making wine from her own grapes. Then she's welcome to move. I hear Paso Robles is lovely this time of year. His voice hardened. You have until tomorrow to accept my offer. After that, all deals are off the table. He hung up. Charlotte sat in the quiet kitchen, her mind racing. She could bid at the auction herself. But Victor knew that he'd just keep driving the price up, bleeding her resources until she either gave up or overpaid dramatically. Even with her wealth, there were limits. Unless she picked up her phone and made a call. Charlotte. Her CFO sounded surprised. It's Sunday. Ethan, I need you to prepare documents to sell my shares in the company. There was a long silence. I'm sorry. What? You heard me. All my shares, controlling interest, everything. I want it liquidated by Tuesday morning. Charlotte, that's insane. You've spent 15 years building. I know what I've built, and I know what I'm willing to sacrifice to build something better. This is about a woman, isn't it? Charlotte smiled. And a 4-year-old who needs to keep her home. You're absolutely certain? I've never been more certain of anything. After she hung up, Charlotte sat back feeling lighter than she had in years. She was about to give up everything she'd worked for, and somehow it felt right. Elena found her an hour later, still sitting at the table. Luna's down for a nap, Elena said. She cried herself to sleep talking about her tree. Charlotte's heart broke. Elena, I have a plan. She explained about selling her company shares, about having enough capital to outbid Victor at the auction. Elena listened in stunned silence. Charlotte, you can't do that. That's your whole career. My career has been keeping me from my real life for 5 years. I think it's time I fix that. But your work, your success, everything you built means nothing without you and Luna. Charlotte took Elena's hands. I made the wrong choice once. I chose work over love. I'm not making that mistake again. This is too much. I can't ask you to give up everything for me. You're not asking. I'm offering. And Elena, it's not just for you. It's for me, too. I don't want to be a CEO who visits her family on weekends. I want to be here every day, learning to make wine, learning to be a mom, building a life that actually means something. Elena was crying openly now. You're going to regret this. The only thing I regret is not doing it 5 years ago. They sat together in silence, holding hands across the kitchen table. While upstairs, Luna slept, dreaming of her tree. That afternoon, Kara called with disturbing news. Miss Pierce, there's something you need to know. I did some more digging into Victor's acquisition strategy, and he's not planning to keep the winery operational. He wants the land for a luxury housing development. Willow Crest Winery would be demolished. Charlotte's blood ran cold. You're certain? I have the development plans right here. 53 custom homes, each starting at $5 million. Construction starts as soon as permits are approved. After hanging up, Charlotte found Elena in the vineyard walking the rows with a wine journal, making notes for next year's harvest. A harvest she might not be there for. Lenny, there's something you need to know. She explained about Victor's development plans. Lenny's face went ashen. He's going to bulldoze it. All of it. The vines, the house, everything. Lenny sank down between 2 rows. Her journal falling forgotten. My family's old rootstock is in block 7. Those vines are over 60 years old. They can't be replaced. Charlotte knelt beside her. I won't let that happen. How can you stop it? I don't know yet, but I'll figure it out. Elena looked at her with red-rimmed eyes. Why are you doing this? Really? Is it guilt obligation? Because I can't be your redemption project, Charlotte. That's not what this is. Then what is it? Charlotte took a deep breath. Do you remember what you said to me the night before I left for San Jose? You said, someday you'll realize that the best things in life can't be measured in profit margins. Elena nodded slowly. You were right. And it took me 5 years and almost losing you twice to figure it out. This isn't about guilt. It's about finally understanding what matters. And what matters? You, Luna, this land and everything it represents. Building something that lasts longer than a fiscal quarter. Charlotte gestured at the vines around them. These vines will be here long after we're gone. They'll feed people, bring joy, create memories. That's legacy. Not stock prices or corner offices. Elena was quiet for a long moment. Then Block 7 needs to be thin next month. The canopy is too dense. Okay. And we need to start thinking about the harvest schedule. The Chardonnay might be ready earlier than usual. I'll put it on the calendar. And Luna's going to need to be enrolled in the local kindergarten for next fall. There's a waiting list. Charlotte realized what Elena was doing. Planning for a future here as if they'd already won. I'll call tomorrow. Good. Elena stood, picking up her journal because we have a winery to save and a daughter to raise. We don't have time for dramatic gestures or romantic speeches, noted. But Charlotte, yeah, thank you for staying, for fighting, for everything. That night, after Luna was asleep, Charlotte worked late into the night. She called lawyers, accountants, real estate experts. She reviewed property laws, auction procedures, development permits. At 2 a.m., Elena found her still at the kitchen table, surrounded by papers. You should sleep. Can't. I'm missing something. There has to be a way to stop this that doesn't involve outbidding Victor. Elena sat down, studying the documents. Her eyes caught on something. Wait, what's this about water rights? Charlotte pulled out the relevant file. Standard stuff. The property includes water access from the Navarro River for irrigation. But Victor's development plan shows homes with lawns, pools, landscaping that would require significantly more water usage than vineyard irrigation. Charlotte's mind started racing. And there are probably environmental limits on residential water draw from the river. Exactly. If his permits don't account for that, then the development plan is invalid. Charlotte grabbed her phone. I need to call the Environmental Compliance Office. Charlotte, it's 2 a.m. I'll leave a message. They spent the next hour combing through environmental regulations, water usage laws, and historical river flow data. By dawn, they had a case. This could work, Charlotte said, exhausted but energized. If we can prove the development exceeds sustainable water usage, the permits will be denied. And without the permits, the land is worthless to Victor for development, which means he won't bid as high at the auction. Exactly. Elena smiled. You know, for a city person, you're getting pretty good at this rural problem-solving thing. I have a good teacher. Luna wandered in, rubbing her eyes. Why are you awake? It's still dark. We're working, sweetheart, Elena explained, trying to solve a puzzle. Can I help? Charlotte pulled Luna onto her lap. Actually, you already did. I did. You reminded me what we're fighting for. Sometimes that's the most important help of all. The next morning, Charlotte filed an environmental challenge to Victor's development permits. By noon, the county had placed a hold on permit approval pending review. Victor called within an hour, his voice tight with fury. You're playing a dangerous game, Charlotte. I'm just following environmental law. If your development is sustainable, you have nothing to worry about. This won't stop me. Maybe not, but it'll slow you down long enough for people to see what you're really trying to do. Destroy a historic winery for profit. Everything's about profit. Not everything. Charlotte said, some things are about legacy, about preserving what matters you wouldn't understand. We'll see who's still standing after the auction. He hung up. Charlotte felt a surge of satisfaction, but it was short-lived. They'd bought time, but the auction was still happening. And without enough capital to outbid Victor, they could still lose. That afternoon, something unexpected happened. The local newspaper, the Soma County Observer, ran a front-page story about Navarro River Estates and the fight to save it from developers. The article painted Elena as a sympathetic figure, a single mother fighting corporate greed, trying to preserve a piece of wine country heritage. It mentioned Luna, the apple tree, the 60-year-old rootstock that would be lost. By evening, the story had been picked up by regional outlets. By the next morning, it was trending on social media. Elena's phone started ringing off the hook. Other winery owners calling in support. Environmental groups offering to protest, wine enthusiasts expressing outrage, and then the donations started coming in. A crowdfunding page appeared, started by someone they didn't even know. Save Willow Crest Winery, it proclaimed. Within hours, it had raised $50,000. By the next morning, $200,000. Elena stared at her computer in disbelief. Charlotte, are you seeing this? I'm seeing it. I just don't believe it. Luna climbed up to look at the screen. Why are so many people helping us? Because, Charlotte said softly, sometimes people remember what's important and they're willing to fight for it. The day of the auction dawned clear and bright. Charlotte, Elena, and Luna drove to the county offices together along with what seemed like half of Soma County. The parking lot was packed. Protesters lined the street with signs. Save our wineries. Development kills community. Heritage over profit. Inside the auction room was standing room only. Victor Liang sat in the front row looking supremely confident. But when he saw the crowd, some of that confidence wavered. The county auctioneer, Victor's brother-in-law, looked nervous. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll begin the auction of the property known as Willow Crest Winery. Opening bid is set at $800,000 for unpaid tax liens. Victor raised his paddle immediately. 1 million, Charlotte countered. 1.2 1.5, Victor shot back. 2 million, Charlotte said calmly. The crowd murmured. Victor's eyes narrowed. 2.53 million. Victor stood up. You don't have 3 million in liquid assets. I know your financials. Charlotte smiled. You knew my old financials before I liquidated my company shares. I have considerably more capital now. His face went red. 4 million. 5 million. The room went silent. That was well above the property's market value, even for development purposes. Victor looked at Charlotte trying to read her. Was she bluffing? Did she really have that much to spend $6 million? He said finally. Charlotte paused. That was approaching her limit. If she bid higher and won, she'd have almost nothing left for operations, for life, for emergencies. Elena took her hand under the table, squeezing gently. Whatever Charlotte decided, they'd face it together. Charlotte looked at Luna, sitting between them, her small face full of trust and hope. She raised her paddle. 7 million. The crowd erupted in applause. Victor stood abruptly, his face purple with rage. This is insane. You're paying triple what that property is worth. Then I guess I'm a very poor businesswoman, Charlotte said sweetly. Going to counterbid. He looked at her for a long moment. Then at the crowd of angry residents and protesters, he was beat and he knew it. Congratulations, he spat. I hope it was worth it. It was, Charlotte said simply. The auctioneer, looking relieved to end the chaos, called out. 7 million going once, going twice, sold to bidder number 27. The room exploded in tears. Elena was crying. Luna was jumping up and down, and Charlotte felt a weight lift that she'd been carrying for 5 years. They'd won. Outside, they were mobbed by well-wishers and press, but Charlotte just wanted to get Elena and Luna home. As they drove back to the winery, Luna chattered excitedly about all the people and the signs and the clapping. Lenny was quiet, her hand clasped in Charlotte's. Are you okay? Charlotte asked. I just keep thinking about how much you paid. $7 million, Charlotte. That's the best investment I've ever made. But no buts. This is where we belong, all three of us. And you can't put a price on that. When they got home, Luna ran immediately to her apple tree as if checking to make sure it was still there. It's okay, tree, she said seriously, patting the trunk. We're staying. Nobody's going to cut you down. Charlotte and Lenny stood on the porch, watching their daughter commune with her tree. What happens now? Elena asked quietly. Now? Charlotte pulled her close. Now we rebuild together. That night, after Luna was asleep, they opened a bottle of the 2019 Reserve, the wine that had brought Charlotte back. To new beginnings, Elena said, raising her glass. To coming home, Charlotte countered. They drank in comfortable silence for a while. Then Elena said, you know, you just spent almost everything you have, right? We're going to be living pretty lean for a while. I'm aware. No more fancy restaurants or designer shoes. I noticed my Pradas died a tragic death in your vineyard on day 1. I've made my peace with it. Elena laughed. You're going to have to actually work. Real labor, pruning, harvesting, bottling. It's not glamorous. Good. I'm done with glamorous. And Luna's up at 5:30 a.m. every day. No exceptions. I'll learn to love mornings. Lenny's expression sobered. And us? What are we, Charlotte, co-parents, friends, something more? Charlotte set her glass down and took Lenny's hands. I want us to be everything. I know I have to earn that. I'm willing to start wherever you're comfortable and work my way back into your heart. What if you're already there? Elena whispered. Then I'm the luckiest woman alive. She leaned in slowly, giving Charlotte every chance to retreat. Charlotte met her halfway. Their mouths touched for the first time in 5 years, tentative, testing, relearning the shape of each other. Then Lenny deepened it, her hand cupping Charlotte's face, and the 5 years dissolved. When they finally parted, breathless, Lenny rested her forehead to Charlotte's. I'm still scared, she admitted. Me too. But I want to try. So do I. They stayed on the porch until the stars came out, sketching a future. Harvest was on its way. They'd need extra hands. Luna would start kindergarten in the fall. 1,000 decisions, 1,000 hurdles, but for the first time in 5 years, Charlotte felt exactly where she was meant to be. Will Charlotte and Elena make it work? Keep watching to find out. If you're loving this journey, hit subscribe and tap the bell. 3 months later, harvest season roared through Willow Crest Winery. Charlotte stood in Block 7 among the 60-year-old vines, hands stained purple from picking Pinot Noir grapes. You missed a cluster, Hank, the perpetually grumpy vineyard manager, called. Charlotte followed his pointing finger and groaned. How do you even see those? Practice. And unlike you city folk, my eyes aren't fried from staring at screens. Gruff as he was, Hank had taken Charlotte under his wing, schooling her in viticulture. She'd learned to read the vines, to taste for ripeness, to guess which block would come due next. Her back ached constantly. Her hands were a map of nicks and calluses. She had never been happier. Mama Charlotte. Mama Charlotte. Luna barreled through the rows, kindergarten backpack bouncing. Look what I made. She held up a drawing of their family, 2 moms, 1 little girl, and an enormous apple tree. It's beautiful, sweetheart. Charlotte wiped her palms on her jeans before taking it. Should we hang it in the tasting room? Yes. Where everyone can see. Luna had slipped into life with 2 mothers like it was the most natural thing in the world. She'd started saying Mama Charlotte to tell her moms apart from Mama Elena, and it stuck. Elena emerged from the winery, toweling her hands. How's Block 7? Another 2 days, Hank answered. Maybe 3 if this heat breaks. Perfect. That'll let us finish pressing the Chardonnay. Charlotte watched Elena move through the vineyard with effortless authority. This was her realm, her passion made real. And now Charlotte got to be part of it. That evening they hosted a small gathering to celebrate the harvest. Other winery owners from the area came along with the locals who'd supported them during the auction. To Willow Crest Winery, someone toasted. And to the women who saved it, the crowd cheered. Later, as people mingled and Luna ran around with other children, Charlotte found a quiet moment with Elena in the barrel room. I have something to tell you, Charlotte said. Elena looked concerned. That sounds ominous. Not ominous, just big. Charlotte took a deep breath. I've been talking to some investors, people who believe in sustainable agriculture and heritage preservation. They want to create a fund to protect small wineries from corporate takeover. That's amazing. And they want me to run it. Charlotte watched Lenny's face carefully. It would mean some travel, some time away, but I could base operations here. Work from the winery most of the time. Elena was quiet for a moment. What do you want to do? I want to say yes, but not if it means sacrificing what we've built. You and Luna come first, always. Elena smiled. Charlotte, I don't want you to give up everything for me. I want you to build a life that fulfills you. And protecting other wineries, that sounds like exactly the kind of work you should be doing. You sure? I'm sure. Besides, someone needs to keep Victor Liang from destroying more family farms. They kissed soft and sweet, surrounded by barrels of fermenting wine that would be ready in a year. About the same timeline they'd given themselves to see if this relationship could work. Spoiler, it was working beautifully. A month later, Charlotte made it official, moving the last of her belongings from San Jose to the winery. Luna helped her unpack, offering commentary on every item. Why do you have so many boring clothes? They're professional. They're boring. You should wear more colors like Mama Elena. Noted. That night, the 3 of them sat down for a family meeting. Something Elena had instituted to make sure everyone felt heard. So Lenny began. Big news. Charlotte is officially moving in full-time. Luna cheered. Which means we need to talk about house rules and expectations. Do I have to clean my room more? Luna asked suspiciously. We all have to clean more, Charlotte said. But that's not what this is about. We want to know how you're feeling about all the changes. Luna thought seriously for a moment. I like having two mamas, but sometimes people at school ask weird questions like what? Elena asked gently. Like why have two moms and no dad? And I say because that's just how my family is. But then they ask more questions and I don't always know what to say. Charlotte and Elena exchanged glances. What do you want to say? Charlotte asked. I want to say that families come in all different shapes and mine is perfect the way it is. Luna looked at them both. Is that okay? That's more than okay, baby, Lenny said, pulling her into a hug. That's exactly right. Later that night, after Luna was asleep, Charlotte and Lenny lay in bed together. A relatively new development they were both still adjusting to. Do you ever regret it? Lenny asked quietly. Giving up your company, your old life. Never. Do you regret letting me back in? Not even once. Lenny rolled over to face her. Although I do miss having the bed to myself. Charlotte laughed. I can sleep in the guest room if don't you dare. Elena pulled her closer. I was kidding mostly. They lay in comfortable silence for a while, listening to the sounds of the house settling, the distant rush of the river. Charlotte H. I love you. It was the first time Elena had said it since Charlotte's return. The words hung in the air, precious and fragile. I love you, too, Charlotte whispered. I never stopped. I know. I think that's what scared me most. That the love was still there, waiting even after everything. Is it still scary? Terrifying. But the good kind of terrifying, like standing at the top of a mountain or bidding $7 million at an auction. Elena laughed exactly like that. The next morning, Charlotte woke to find Luna standing beside the bed staring at them. You're cuddling, she announced. Good morning to you, too, sweetheart. Charlotte mumbled, still half asleep. Does this mean you're girlfriends now? Like the moms on that TV show? Elena sat up, trying not to laugh. Where did you hear that word? Kindergarten. Zoe has two dads, and she says they were boyfriends before they were dads. So, I figured you were girlfriends before you were moms. That's actually pretty accurate, Charlotte admitted. Okay. Can we have pancakes? Sure, baby. Let us wake up first. After Luna left, Elena turned to Charlotte. Girlfriends, I haven't been called that in years. Too juvenile. No, kind of perfect, actually. The weeks turned into months. Charlotte's Heritage Fund launched successfully with 5 wineries already protected from hostile takeovers. She worked from a small office they'd converted in the winery, taking calls between harvest duties. Elena's wines were gaining recognition. The San Jose restaurant featured Navarro River Estates as their house Pond Noir. Wine Spectator gave their 2020 vintage a 92-point rating. Luna thrived, bringing home art projects and stories from school, growing more confident every day. And Charlotte and Elena, they were learning to be a family. It wasn't always easy. They argued about parenting styles, about business decisions, about whose turn it was to do the dishes. Elena was still sometimes suspicious when Charlotte had to travel. Charlotte occasionally got frustrated with the slow pace of rural life, but they worked through it. They communicated. They compromised. They chose each other every single day. One evening in late spring, Charlotte found Elena standing beside Luna's apple tree. It was covered in white blossoms, the air sweet with their scent. She's gotten so big, Lenny said softly. The tree or our daughter? Both. Elena smiled. Do you remember what you said when you first saw Luna? That she was beautiful before that in the vineyard. You said the grapes were like babies. You have to give them what they need, but not baby them too much. That was Luna's line, not mine. She got it from me. Elena took Charlotte's hand. I've been thinking about that. About how I've been with you. Elena, let me finish. I've been holding back, protecting myself, not letting you all the way in, just in case you leave again. Charlotte's heart clenched. I'm not going anywhere. I know. My head knows that, but my heart's been slower to catch up. Elena turned to face her fully. But standing here, looking at this tree Luna and I planted, thinking about the life we're building, I'm ready. Ready for what? Elena pulled a small box from her pocket. Charlotte's breath caught. I know we said we'd take it slow, Elena said, her voice shaking slightly. But we've wasted enough time, and I don't want to waste any more. She opened the box, revealing 2 simple gold bands. Charlotte Pierce, will you marry me again? Properly this time. Charlotte was crying, laughing, nodding all at once. Yes. God, yes. They kissed under Luna's apple tree, the blossoms falling around them like snow. Mama. Mama Charlotte, are you kissing again? Luna's voice came from the porch. Gross. They broke apart, laughing. Come here, baby. Elena called. We have something to tell you. Luna ran over and they explained about the engagement. About getting married. Does that mean we'll have a party? Luna asked practically. A small one? Charlotte confirmed. Can I wear a fancy dress? The fanciest. And can Mr. Bentley be in the wedding? Charlotte and Lenny looked at each other. Sure, Elena said. Why not? Luna threw her arms around both of them. This is the best day ever. 2 months later, they were married in the vineyard, surrounded by friends, family, and what seemed like half of Mendocino County. Luna served as ring bearer. Mr. Bentley wore a bow tie, and Hank actually smiled, though he denied it later. It was simple, beautiful, and exactly what they needed. As they danced their first dance as a married couple, Charlotte looked around at the vineyard, the old Victorian house, the people who'd become their community. What are you thinking? Elena asked. That I took the longest possible route to get here. But I finally made it home. We both did. They swayed to the music, Luna dancing nearby with other children, the setting sun painting everything gold. Charlotte thought about the letter that had brought her back to wine country. The one she'd never figured out who sent. In the end, it didn't matter. What mattered was that she'd listened. She'd left behind corporate success, designer clothes, and a life that looked perfect from the outside. In return, she'd gained dirt under her fingernails, early mornings in the vineyard, a daughter who asked too many questions, and a wife who challenged her every day. She'd never been wealthier. As the party continued into the night, Charlotte caught Elena watching her with that soft smile she'd fallen in love with a decade ago. I love you, Charlotte mouthed across the crowd. I know, Elena replied, lips forming the words. Took you long enough to realize. And there, beneath wine country stars, surrounded by vines destined to outlast them, Charlotte Pierce finally grasped what success truly was. Not dollars, not deals, not corner offices. It lived in moments like this, grape-stained fingers laced together, a 4-year-old's laughter, the promise of tomorrow and all the tomorrows beyond. It was roots running deep and love that endures. It was the feeling of coming home. Thank you for following this journey of love, forgiveness, and second chances. If this story moved you, please subscribe to our channel, tap the notification bell, and share this video with someone who believes in love's power. Tell us below, what was your favorite moment from Charlotte and Elena's story? And don't forget to rate it from 0 to 10. Remember, true love doesn't require luxury or power, it needs deep roots. The courage to start again, and the certainty that, together, you can flourish in any season. See you in the next story.